Or is it? Oh yeah, I see the.
Yep, we're up.
Okay.
We're live. We're doing it live, by which I mean we're recording a thing other people will watch later. But I have coffee because I've already missed one meeting today by not paying enough attention and being awake.
Yeah, you're trying to take over my shtick.
I'll tell you what, it's not performative. It's just a genuine fuck up on my part. That's there you have it.
I like when I'm the one who misses meetings because I. All right, well this is a short one because I think this is just Ty has a lot of shit on his plate he needs to get done. So I have on my list of things to do the rewrite of 11 that you just sent, plus the second half with Michael, so that you can do the rewrite on that.
Bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fairness, I think we should say to the assembled masses, the reason that there is so much on your plate right now is that I got you the stuff to be edited last night, like close to midnight or something. So it's not like you're being lazy. It's that
I am being lazy, but yeah, I got it late. I did read through it. I already have a plan. I've already made a mental checklist of the little tweaks that I want to do on the front half, and then I've sort of thought through what the second half is going to look like. So that won't take that long, but what I'm really trying to do is get the other thing done. Which, by the way, that's going fairly well. I'm breaking. So Daniel and I have another project. It's actually a screenplay project.
We're
working on the outline right now.
Yeah.
So I'm
outlines are the devil.
They're the devil. They're the worst. What I'm trying to do with that one, just so you know, Daniel, is break it up into actual outline format with the scene, actually by scene.
Actual outline format for an outline? What madness is this?
I think we're at the point where we can do that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do that. So it's taking a little longer because I'm actually trying to.
I'm not bitching about anything. I showed
the
up
45 scenes or 50 scenes or whatever we're doing.
To this, I feel I got away with something. But let's talk about the horror thing that I did turn into you.
Yeah.
Because you've read it over, you looked at it. There are some parts I think of it that I think are working, and there's some parts I think are a little janky.
There's it. Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff I would wanna tweak. I think the stuff to build tension is good, but I think some of it gets over repeated.
Yeah. No, I felt like I needed a couple more ideas than I actually had when I was doing it.
Yeah, that's not hard though, because the intent is very clear. So it's just finding other sort of ways to deliver that
details,
intent.
other actual. So yeah, the when folks were reading this through, one of the things that I think is a critical failing of this section is the way that the same moment, the same concrete specific details wind up showing up over and over and over, instead of some new ones that would be more effective and would
that deliver the same emotional content but are just different
and that
things.
Ideally build instead of saying, oh yes, he's still doing that thing.
Yeah, it's so I mean it's the usual first draft stuff. We just need to sort of polish it up a little bit.
And I think the last line is not the right one, but I was out of time, so I sent it to you.
Oh no, I'm gonna rewrite that in part, because what I want to do is make it very clear who's silhouetted in the street, and she's not going to forget the guy who shot her. So it's
Probably
going to be
not.
the large Chinese man with the smashed face who had previously shot her is silhouetted in the doorway.
The other thing that was interesting when I was writing this one, is I went back and I looked at the when she arrived in the previous chapter, and we didn't actually lay out some of the architecture of the place. So we don't mention the front room, but we mention a sofa.
Yep.
And we mentioned the kitchen, and I think it is a fair call to say that there is not actually a sofa in the kitchen. So
but the way I
front room is
pictured
there
it,
by implication.
Yeah, we could certainly make that much more concrete. We could
I don't
certainly
think
go
we-
through
yeah.
and tweak that. But the way I pictured it in my head is like many compressed living spaces, like duplexes and things like that, where it's trying to pack a lot of living space into a small footprint.
Mm-hmm.
It is the front of that. You open the door, you are it. If you look to the right, it is the living room, and
Right.
that's the sofa, the TV, that kind of stuff. And if you look to the left, there is a dining room with a kitchen off of it.
And
Right.
and the little like pass through the counter between the two. That's what I was picturing.
Or no counter. I've seen plenty of them that don't have a counter between. It's just the dining room space bleeds into the living room space. They're kind of adjoined spaces.
Yeah.
And depending on the style of the place, they can be differentiated by different floor covering, or they can just all be the same
the
thing.
same
where
thing.
it's
Yeah.
just, like you can tell one is a dining room because it has a table and some chairs, and then
One
you can
is
tell
not
this is
'cause
the
it has a
living room because
sofa.
it has a couch and a TV. Yeah. It's very common in this sort of like that, 800 square foot condo kind of layout where it's just one space.
And one of the things I think that we have discovered in our travels is how little money scientists actually make.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
They have no money.
No.
You work really, really, really hard to get a degree that will make you as much as like an assistant bank manager.
And then you have to travel a lot. You can't even put down. I mean, it turns out to be kind of a brutal job.
Yeah. I mean, if you get to the point where you are a tenured professor at a halfway decent university, that's a 6-figure income. But it is a long,
That's a
difficult
thin
road
slice.
to get there. Yeah.
That's a thin slice of people who are doing the work.
Yeah, to get a 6-figure income when you could get that same 6-figure income by being like, a consultant or a bank manager or
Yeah. But you get the advantage of actually seeing the secret functions of the universe, which that's cool.
Yeah. No, my wife, her career options are going to academia where she can make no money, like all the other people in academia, or go into consulting where they will give her vast dump trucks full of money. And the difference between the two is one of them will make her hate her life, and the other one will make her enjoy her life.
Yeah,
So-
and it's not like all of the goods on the one side of the balance. That's terrible.
No, I think she would have a great time teaching and make no money, or she could hate her life and hate herself consulting, and they will give her all of it. So, yeah. Yeah, so they're not going to have a ton of money, I do picture it that way. So that you go in, there's the sort of open living space with kind of a kitchen in the corner, dining room, living space here, and then a hallway kind of going off the back of it with, on
Yeah.
one side garage and on the other side kids room.
And what's interesting is that I think if we were both to draw the floor plan of this place, I think it would look very different. But
It
functionally,
very well could have.
I think it works. I mean, so I one of the things I enjoy about this process is the way that the version that exists in my head and the version that exists in your head they're close to each other. They're adjacent,
Yeah.
and they're functional, but they're not. They can't be exactly the same because we're not.
Well, maybe this is a good opportunity to quickly talk about the danger of over-describing. Because, we can put in a few, and this is not me lecturing Daniel at this point, this is me talking to the audience at large. You could have an exact floor plan of this place in your head that we draw out, that we agree on, and we could spend a lot of time describing it so that the reader gets an exact floor plan of this place.
Mm-hmm.
There's almost no benefit to that. What is much more beneficial, and this is something Daniel taught me early on, is you describe enough details that you trigger the reader's imagination of what the place looks like, and let them fill in all the details, because what they fill in is going to be much more concrete for them. It's going to be much more detailed for them than your boring ass lengthy descriptions of what everything looks like. So what we're looking for is enough detail. We know that there's a hallway that Doc's old bedroom used to be off of, but that is now the scrapbook room, right? We know that there's a hallway for that. We know that there's a door that goes into the garage. We know that there is a dining room and kitchen area. We know that there are stairs that go up, and at the top of the stairs is a master bedroom. right? That's enough. Like once you've said that, people kind of will picture what that will look like in their heads, and we don't want to go past the point where we've triggered them picturing it. We just want to get to the point where they go, "Oh, I get it," and their head fills in.
And that is what fucked me when we started doing screenplays.
Yeah,
because I had trained myself to just evoke enough that you could kind of picture it for yourself, and then I started doing that in screenplays, and people wanted to actually know what they were supposed to build and what it was supposed to, how the actual props were supposed to look and what the costumes really were, and all of the actual concrete specific detail that you need for a construction document, which a novel is not.
Right, exactly. Now, nobody's going to go out and build anything based on a description we did in a novel.
But if they do, they're going to describe. They're going to build whatever they imagined, and it'll be fine. Right. But the director and the showrunner aren't going to be weighing in on it. There's not going to be if you imagine it a little bit wrong, and it turns out there's a closet there that you hadn't quite pictured in your head, you reimagine it. It takes you 30 seconds tops. You don't have to get any construction guys in. The unions are not involved. There's no money.
Yeah. Well, the biggest difference description wise is you can casually add descriptive detail in a novel. You can casually mention there's a walk-in closet, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could be writing the thing and just in the moment go, the door to the walk-in closet was open and dresses and suits hung side by side.
And
you could casually mention that.
And in fact, I did that with the windows in the master bedroom. We hadn't mentioned windows in the master bedroom, but I needed some, so I put them there.
So you can casually mention those things in a novel, and they're evocative, right? People will now picture that. You cannot casually mention concrete details in a screenplay. Because if you casually mention the door to the walk-in closet is open, you can see suits and dresses hanging side by side. Now you've got construction going, okay, we need to add a walk-in closet to this. You got the costume department going, we need to get a bunch of suits and dresses that we can hang in there. How big is the closet? How many suits and dresses?
Which wall are we putting this extra door on?
Right.
How does this affect the rest of this? The continuity winds up being much more expensive.
Yeah.
And in fact, undoable. So I
think the details of what she's trying to accomplish and how she accomplishes it, they work fine, I think. The hiding in the bathroom while the monster is outside and looking for the plug for the thing, I think that all works great.
Yeah, and I threw in the AA and AAA thing because I thought it was funny.
No, that's great because I've actually literally run into that problem before.
Right.
Where I'm like, oh, these are A batteries, and then I go get the A batteries that I have, and I bring them up. I'm like, wait, why are these way too small?
Don't go in. Well,
oh yeah, AAA and AA, they're different things.
And then I was like working on this. I was sitting on the couch typing on this, and I was trying to think, okay, well, what else? I've already burned the electric razor.
Yep.
What else do you plug into? What else is plausible to plug into in? And so I stopped and I went to the bathroom and I looked around and I said, oh, I have electric toothbrushes. They have there's a power supply for those. Okay.
See, at my house, we'd be fucked because we've got the Sonicare, and the Sonicare, it's an integrated plug. It doesn't plug into a port, so I'd be dead. The monster would get me because I'd be like, God damn it, my Sonicare.
Killed by Sonicare.
Yeah, the Sonicare doesn't have like a little plug-in thing.
So yeah, and I was thinking, okay, well, those in the mirrors with the integrated lights that have the one normal face and the one enlarging, the magnifying face. What are those called? I mean, is that a makeup mirror? Do all makeup mirrors? If I say makeup mirror, is that actually describing that, or are people going to picture the wrong thing? So there was
I knew what you were describing, but
with the mirror.
Yeah.
It's I went up like Googling makeup mirror, and what I was describing was a makeup mirror, but then there were many other things which were also makeup mirrors that were not that.
Right.
So yeah, this is the level of fine-tuned research that I'm bringing to this project.
Yeah, no, I think the sequence works fine, and we're just tweaking it to make it a little less repetitious of detail. But I think it will pretty much accomplish what we need to accomplish there.
And some of that you can just fix with a knife. I mean, for some of that you can just cut shit and would probably hold together.
Yeah,
strong.
Yeah,
strong
and I
faith
think
in
I
editing.
think so. For me, when I was reading it, having her continually repeat in her head, "Oh, he's coming here, he's going to kill me,"
Yeah.
and having the same thought over and over again is less like once you've said it once, like now it's in the world, and everybody who's reading is thinking it. For me, the moment that really worked, and I want to find more of these moments, is when she's she's taking the thing apart and like pulls her fingernail on the little hatch and makes a little bit of noise and hears the thing outside notice that noise.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I don't want to do this because it's a little too samey, but like stepping on a piece of the section of the floor that squeaks.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of detail I think
Actually
is going to remind everybody
that would actually be a good one to do at the head of the stairs.
Yeah.
Not in the bathroom, but when
we first pitched this idea, that was one of the very first pitches one of us made, is that one of the stairs squeak.
Yeah.
And what I actually want to do, and my original idea was for that, and what I want to do in this is have her going out to go down the stairs, and just before she steps on the stair, remembering that that's the one that squeaks, and then stepping over it. Right. So it's, you get the tension, but you don't have the repeat beat of she steps on the squeaky stair and she hears the thing. And but I want the tension of that moment. I was like, she's just about to put her foot down and she goes, "Oh yeah, that's the one that squeaks." Right.
Oh, if I had shifted my weight, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
Huh.
And just steps over it.
Yeah.
And then what we can do once we've got that detail in there is on the re-write pass, just remember to have it squeak on the way up.
Have it squeak on the way up, and you can have it squeak when he's coming up too.
Yeah. Yep.
Because then it
I
seems
like that, because if it's one of the steps right up at the top, and when she comes in, she steps on it, squeaks, and she remembers it squeaking. Like, oh yeah, that's the one that always squeaked. I could always tell when David not David, but Tim and his girl and Maya were going to bed, because you'd hear two sets of people step on that squeaky step. You can have her thinking that. Then you can have her in the bathroom hear the step squeak, and go, the monster's at the top of the steps now.
Yeah.
And then having her go out and just about to step down on it and going,
wait,
and then stepping on the next one. Yeah.
No,
that nice 3-part thing is great.
And the first one is in the context of her going, it's so strange what's preserved across instances, and what changes, some things are so wildly different, and then these little details that pull through, and then
that's nice. That's a nice moment of in this reality. I never lived here. I've never lived with Tim and Maya. I've never been in this house before. My bedroom has never been down where the scrapbook room is, but there's still a loose nail on the top step.
Yeah.
Right. That is a nice moment.
Yeah. I'm going to write that down. The other problem we have is we have really cool ideas, then we forget them.
Indeed. What's the song from the Disney Alice in Wonderland? I give myself such very good advice, but I very rarely ever follow it.
Very seldom follow it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you know a lot of like local artists and stuff. Do you know anybody in Albuquerque who does really fine detail wood carving? Of like figures?
I don't have anybody offhand, but I know who I would ask.
Yeah, I'm looking to have something custom made. But our dining room is built to be sort of like the theme dining room, that like the library space dining room. And so we've got the bookshelves on both sides. We're putting all of our expensive rare books in there, all the fancy looking books, the leather bound and that kind of stuff. And Janae has a Tin Woodman that she got when she was a little kid. So I think that fits in there because it's the Wizard of Oz thing. And then so that's on the step on one side because there's 2 steps to get up into the dining room. On one side we're going to have that, and on the other side I want a wood carving of Cheshire Cat. But the original Cheshire Cat from the wood carving illustrations that were in the first edition of the book.
Not the Disney version.
Not the Disney version, but the original one. So I want to have somebody carve me a wooden Cheshire Cat and have it on the other side.
Yeah, I know who I would ask. So let me talk to a guy.
Okay.
I know a guy.
And then Janae has a bunch of original prints from an early edition of Blake's book. So we're going to have a bunch of Blake paintings framed hanging on the wall.
Like William Blake?
Yeah.
Damn. All right.
I mean,
Songs of Innocence and Experience. He's one of my favorites. He was
crazy. He's awesome.
He was, yeah. He's actually, one of my favorite quotes comes from him. Both read the Bible day and night, but thou readst black where I read white.
Nice.
It's like, I don't even know what that means, but it's evocative. And then we're back to evocative being what you're aiming for.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's a great
it back together.
But I mean, they did. What's the Silence of the Lambs guy did use a lot of Blake in his stuff. The Red Dragon painting for
For
that
Red
the guy
Dragon.
had tattooed on his back in Red Dragon. Yeah.
And Blake is good for weird.
Yeah. Well, Janae, there was a book. It's the bookstore in Cambridge where she got me my first edition of Alice in Wonderland. So it's that kind of bookstore, like the very expensive, very rare books. And one of the things they had a copy of Blake's book that had come apart. So it was no longer sellable as a book. So they were selling individual pages of it.
Mm-hmm.
And she went and bought a bunch of the pages that had paintings. So we're going to frame those and hang them at the library space there.
That's it could class up the joint.
Could class up the joint, yeah. So we'll have Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, and Blake.
All different kinds of fantasy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that we have a whole lot else to talk about this week.
No, I have a bunch of stuff on my plate to do, so I just need to get that done. I mean, definitely, I'll have a 12 done and over to you before we get together next week, so we can start talking about the next
13.
We do chapter 13 and then start talking about the second.
And when we get to chapter 13, that's the act. That is finally the act out.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some structural conversation to have about the last 2/3 of the book. So there's going to be some.
Yeah, I mean, 13 itself is pretty straightforward. It's
pretty straightforward.
We got to get the fuck out of here. Jeremy going, I'm going with you. Brad saying, here's some money, and then we're in the van and we're on the road.
Yeah, and there need to be some character moments in there, and some, and there's that leather needs a little more chewing before it's soft, and we'll get there. But then talking about, are we actually going to put an act break page in? We don't have one yet, but I think it's probably a good idea. How do we want to start Act 2? What is the shape of Act 2? Where does Act 2 end?
Right.
There's some macro scale shit to talk about, and I think we'll get there.
Here, hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
Right. And he is gone. Gone. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how short it is.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It was very, very noisy next door.
Fair enough. So yeah, I think that going through and doing the macroscale stuff will be interesting. I think that'll be a good conversation. And I mean, we know where the book ends, and I know what the last little bit of it looks like. But figuring out what how far we're taking it in Act Two, and what the middle of Act Two looks like, and what the end of Act Two looks like, what we're writing.
I don't know what the details of Act Two are, but I know what Act Two does. Act Two is the roadshow,
Yep.
and it ends with the plan.
Which means we got to get him to Mexico, right?
No, we got to get him to. We have to go to Mexico.
Okay.
And
Okay.
obviously, a chunk of that is finding Maya, conversation with Maya, whatever, however that goes. But there have to be a bunch of complications getting there. There have to be.
Well, and we've got a new character coming in with the lady in the garage and her mandala and the rising stakes universally for the horror and yeah. So yeah, there's some conversations to be had about what exactly that looks like and what the dangers are and what the action pieces are and so.
Well, I think in my head, and we can talk about this next week, but in my head, Act Two starts with Leo and Michael.
Okay.
Because the other thing that has to happen after, so the other thing that happens in 12 is after kills David.
Mm-hmm.
The call to Leo going, get both of the bodies, get back here. For me, the nicest sort of time jump clean break is the beginning of Act Two is Leo and Michael in the lab looking at the two bodies, having the conversation about what Michael ran into, Michael's anger at Leo about being sent in without the information about what the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of their sort of come clean moment where Leo tells Michael what's happening,
right,
or his understanding of what's happening, and what he thinks it all means, which is a nice restatement of the premise from the perspective of somebody who wants the change rather than somebody who's trying to stop the change, right? And then Michael's first now glimpse into this larger world that Leo is trying to build that he hadn't been filled in on. And then if we do that, I think the next time we're with Josie and Doc and Jeremy, they're in a hotel somewhere, right? They're in a motel.
Or gassing up the car or
right.
something on the road.
On the road.
In motion.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's a clean way to do it because I don't need to see them get in the car and leave.
Well, and we don't need to stop at every convenience store with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One thing that so everything I know about writing comes from obsessively watching movies.
Good place to go.
And specifically terrible movies. One thing that bad filmmakers do is they forget that we don't need to see people getting in the car and driving away, and we don't need to see cars pulling up and people getting out. The best way to know a low budget first time filmmaker who's making a bad movie and doesn't know how to make movies is you will see endless cars leaving and cars pulling up scenes. that don't help the plot. They're just like time filler of the car pulled up, more people got out, they walked up and knocked on the door. It's like,
and yeah, what story are you telling with this scene?
Yeah, whereas as we know, if we're sitting in an editing booth, the first thing you would do is cut all of that, and you would just the scene would begin with the person opening the door and our characters standing on the step. Right,
mm-hmm.
That would be the beginning of the scene. Don't even bother shooting all that stuff before that, because a good editor is going to cut all of it. So because of that, now when I'm writing stuff, I'm like, is this a scene that the editor would cut? Do I need to see them getting in the van? No, the editor's going to cut all that. The editor's just going to cut to they're at the Motel 6 talking about where to go next.
Which goes to Uncle Elmore, try not to write the part that people skip.
Yeah, don't write the stuff that the editor's going to cut.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
I have stuff to do. I got to turn around 12. You'll definitely get that before the next time we talk. So we will have stuff to talk about next week.
13 next
I'm
time.
also going to try to get the script stuff done.
I still
in the
have
next
to get
couple
the
days.
last fantasy and the fantasy trilogy off my plate, so I'm not hurting for stuff to do. If you're, don't picture me idle.
No. I'm what that screenplay stuff is more about commitments we've made to other people. I want to make sure we don't totally fail at that.
Ganja, if you're watching this, sorry.
Seriously, I'm actually trying to put this into an actual outline now. So if I get that done in the next couple of days, I'll send that to you.
If I am of use in talking through any of the details on that, or I'm available to you if you'd rather.
Honestly, the big question there is going to be once I get it all chopped up into slug lines and detail format.
Yeah.
The thing that we are then going to know is, do we have enough scenes?
Yeah.
Because we need about, for a feature screenplay, you need about 45, 50 scenes. So we will quickly know, do we have enough scenes?
We may need. Lynch says 70, but.
Well, yes.
But this is an outline. It's not a script.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, is he saying 70 pages of script, or is he saying 70?
He's saying you need to have 70 ideas in a row, and then it's a feature film. But he's also David Lynch, and we're not.
He is also David Lynch.
I'm just saying he is very, very, very good at what he does, and literally nobody else is. So,
and he's also, his advice is you have to have 70 ideas in a row, and his other advice is everything is one idea.
Yeah.
So you need to have 70 ideas that are all exactly the same idea.
That are all the same thought in 70 different facets of one thought.
Yeah.
And also, be a painter and brilliant and idiosyncratic and a once in a generation.
And friends with Monica Bellucci, which I'm very jealous of.
We're not gonna. I think we're not gonna pull that one off. I don't think we're gonna pull that one off. I mean, maybe we will.
All right.
Okay.
This is going to be a short one, but I don't think there's anything else to talk about. We're just rattling about David Lynch at this point.
It's true. All right. See you next week then.